This episode of the Kind of Funny Games Cast is brought to you by Video Blocks. What is Video Blocks, Greg?
Yeah, what is Video Blocks,
Let me
Tim?
tell you. It's an affordable subscription-based stock media site that gives you unlimited access to premium stock footage. What does that mean to us?
B-roll!
What? We used a whole bunch of this B-roll at
Use
Kind
some
of
of
Funny
that.
Live, Kind of Funny Live 1
didn't use
and
that.
2. I did not use this, no.
I did use that. Dave
Anyways,
Fenoy was talking about
super
some-
cool, super awesome. I'm a huge fan of all the stuff. I've been a video editor almost my entire life. And
Yeah.
I've been a big fan of it. Stock footage makes it super easy. This stuff, royalty free. Once you get it, you can use it anything you
Nice.
want. What's super cool is it's subscription based. So when you get a subscription, you can download as much as you want.
Nice.
So that's super cool. Here's a monkey. He's dancing around, having a good time.
Who doesn't want to put that in there?
There's audio stuff. There's like After Effects graphic stuff, and then there's all the stock footage too. So there's a whole bunch of there. You got Pong.
That's Pong
It's
right
hard
there.
for
We're
us-
blocking
you
the
go.
guy. Get out of here with your Pong. Whoa! Whoa!
Video
you make a
Blocks.
video Christmas card with this, you'll blow your mom's face off.
Oh my God. Video Blocks is offering our fans a year subscription for only $99. That's a $50 discount off the usual price tag for our listeners only. That's less than $10 a month. Get yours today for only $99 at videoblocks.com/gamescast. That's
Lean.
videoblocks.com/gamescast.
They can't read it when you do it like that. Move your chair and your mic too. The mic's in the way. What's VC? Oh, Video Blocks, Video Blocks, Video Blocks, Video Blocks.
I'm sorry. This topic, as always, brought to you by you. You can go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast topic. Leave a topic for us to discuss on a future show, just like my boy Jorgon did.
Jorgon.
Speaking of Square,
your soul.
and speaking of Square here too, how do you feel about all the positive Final Fantasy 15 previews of the first 15 hours? Could it actually not suck?
I never thought it was gonna suck. So I mean, that's one of the things that I've said it before and I said it again. I said this will be nothing less than good. I've said that a million times. Right? To my credit, I never said it was gonna be bad. I just said it's not gonna reach the expectations of a 10-year development cycle. Right? And I feel like I was happy to see that. I read a few of them. I've been seeing a lot of the feedback. People have been tweeting them, and I've just been kind of cursorily reading the websites and seeing that. And I'm happy. I don't want any game to be bad. So I hope Final Fantasy 15 is awesome. I don't believe it. Like in terms of it being this amazing game, but if it's good, that's great. I'm excited to play it. I think we're going to get copies of it sooner rather than later, and I'm pleased to see it. I'm not surprised. I never said the game was going to be bad.
I am very surprised, and I am very excited about all of this. There's been a whole bunch of previews out. There's a really long one on IGN. There's a super long one on Polygon. And
I read Polygons. I like
Jeremy
Polygons.
Parrish wrote one too. Jeremy Parrish is the one where I'm like, all right, IGN, okay, cool. Polygon, great. But Jeremy Parrish, he seems like a Colin type motherfucker to me, where it's like
US Gamers, Jeremy
he's going to
Parrish.
be extra hard on this because of the development cycle and because it's not the Final Fantasy that he knows and all this stuff. But he seemed to be super into it, and 15 hours is a large chunk
chunk of time, yeah.
to get a really good idea. And like I love that it seems like everybody is super up on the battle system and that the combat it starts out awkward and you don't really like it, which is an experience I had in the demos that have come out. But then as it goes on, it gets deeper and it feels good and it feels like you're learning it as it goes. And I recently watched all of the anime and stuff, so I'm already super invested in the story and I'm totally sold on that. I mean, I've been sold on this game for a long time, but to hear that people like it is like, oh man, it just feels like a weight's been lifted. Like, and we'll see how far this goes. And like, there is the thing of it's a preview cycle, and it's very rare that games preview poorly. You know, especially on these, especially a game like this. Like,
But I mean, this isn't a preview of you played 15, 20 minutes of it for a Let's Play. You played 15 hours of
yeah,
it.
but so I'm a little trepidatious just because like I know how this shit goes when it comes to websites and stuff, and I feel like it's you want to lean positive on something like this. But for these guys to be saying this, it means a lot to me.
And that was the thing I took away from the Polygon one of like, it starts like, we've joked about how many reviews are going to start that way. Of like, we're just entering college when this happened. And Like, the chips are stacked against this game. And for him to come out, play it, and be like, not only did I like it, but he's like, I really like this story. I really like Noctis's story. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because that's what's been interesting to me. And the fact that you can see the Western RPG influence in all these different things. I'm like, okay. Because again, that's the whole thing. I've been, as an outsider looking in, as a non-Final Fantasy fan, somebody who's never cared about the franchise, looking in, I've always think, It's cool. What you're talking about sounds cool, but I'm worried about it getting in and it just being another really, really nerdy JRPG kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so, like, looking from the outside and reading this, I'm still looking forward to playing it.
Some of the key things that I took away from a couple of these different articles, I don't remember which is from which, but it says that the game starts off with a sentence that just says, "This game is for Final Fantasy fans and first timers alike."
Yeah.
I'm like, awesome, cool. Like, I think that it's good that they're addressing that. And I think that that's really kind of saying in a big way, like, yo, we understand things haven't been great. You know, and I think that they're really trying to start something different. Another thing that's really important is I think that all three articles that I read are talking about how it feels like a good Western RPG and a good JRPG together. And that's awesome because there is the worries for people like Colin that it's going to be not Japanese enough in terms of gameplay. I don't think there's any worry about it not being Japanese enough in terms of
quite Japanese
in terms
enough
of
in
look,
other ways.
whatever. But it's also like reading. I didn't want to watch too much because like we got offered to play this 15-hour version of it, and I was like, I don't want to do that. Like that's way too much time for me to put into this game to potentially have to do it again.
Yeah.
But I really like that. It seems like the characters, especially again after watching the anime and like being sold on this stuff.
Porty?
It seems like it's very lighthearted and like these are just bros hanging out and
Broing
there's
out.
relationships between all of them and they make jokes about the clothes that they're wearing. It's like one of them keeps complaining about how hot it is and he's like, dude, you're wearing a leather jacket in the desert. Like I like that there's that type of kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's not so much a parody of itself. It's more just like the characters are real and they
Yeah.
talk to each other like we make fun of Kevin sleeping and stuff. Like it just, I am so jazzed about this and it's close. It's getting so close. So, I mean, this is shocking to me. Like the fact that all these sites are being so positive about it. I'm just like, oh my God, yes.
Your dreams might come
Could
true.
the NX
Sam.
be coming? Could the NX be good? Who knows? This is so exciting. Anyway, that's what I think, Jorgon. Ghost Jacobs says,
Galaxy.
do you guys think that releasing only 2 weeks before Horizon Zero Dawn will hurt Persona 5 sales?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
games.
different
Totally different.
audiences in the same audience at the same time. If you're a hardcore enough gamer where you are looking forward to Persona 5, you're probably still looking forward to Horizon Zero Dawn. And I would say if you're, not to put anyone down, but if you're top level mainstream gamer, just own a PlayStation 4 for whatever, and you're, the Killzone guys are putting out Horizon, which in Horizon's a new IP, it's gonna be hard to sell it to new people. But if you heard about this open world RPG Western kind of thing, I don't think Persona is necessarily for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Time wise, it's gonna be tough. Trying to balance those as a guy who wants both real bad, trying
Yeah.
to run through one or worry about the other and not, or put one off till you're done because I don't want to be playing two giant RPGs.
And speaking of Persona, Jerry says, what do you think about Persona 5 not using the generic voice actors? I feel like that question's a little, loaded there.
Yeah.
I don't think that, I'm assuming he's referring to the Nolan Norths and Troy Bakers.
Oh,
Nolan
I didn't understand the
Bays.
question. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just based on a couple other people responding to that.
Sure.
That's what he was implying.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't call them generic voice actors.
Matt Mercer,
That-
who's like the DM for Critical Role, who has a huge following, and who does a million video games. Not to leave that out too. He's
Yeah.
not a generic voice actor.
But even speaking of them, like if they were to be in this game, I mean, like yes, when you get trained, you get so familiar with them, you start to be able to differentiate. Like, oh, this character is this person.
Right.
Like you watching trailers is the game of Nolan or Troy. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Everybody. Yeah.
But it's I think that it's exciting that the Final Fantasy 15 cast and the Persona 5 casts are not those guys. But I think that it's a cool thing to be able to cycle. We're going to get a whole new group of people and then, have them distributed amongst all the games. It's a lot of games.
And it is that thing where like I'm not familiar enough with the new cast yet, other than Matt. But the one of the female voice actors got tweeted at, and they included me, saying you should get this girl on the show. She's super cool. And you went and look. She has credits. It's not like these people are just
Are just
like
dudes.
They've just walked in like I've never voice acted before. They've been voice acting. They just haven't been on the Uncharted or Call of Duty stage level yet.
Trevor Starkey says, in honor of the Disney proposal video, what are the best Disney games? I mean, there's,
DuckTales.
DuckTale, all the old
Chip 'n' Dale.
platformers. I mean,
Mickey's Haunted Mansion or whatever the hell it was.
Mickey Mouse
the Magical Castle.
Magical Castle.
Yeah. There is all those, the Genesis and Super Nintendo games, the Aladdin and Lion King and all those. And I love them.
Yeah.
But being completely honest, they don't feel great to play. And even the Magical Castle and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like there's something about them a little too floaty. I love the look, I love the music, I love everything about it. It's Disney, so obviously I'm super into it. But like something about them that's like I feel like we remember those games more fondly than they actually are.
I didn't like them back then. I don't like them now. The only
Really?
reason I remember that Mickey game is I got it for Christmas, and I was like, all right,
That's
thanks,
funny.
and put it in. I was like bitter playing it because like I don't like Mickey. Don't
we
you
did-
know me, Mom and Dad? Where's my Jurassic
Mickey.
Park 2?
We did the Aladdin Let's Play a year ago, and it was just it was broken feeling, you know. But
Yeah.
I remember loving it when I was younger. And,
Sure, because you're a dumb little kid. Now, speaking of just being a dumb little kid who grew up into a dumb man baby, did Epic Mickey get you going? Was that something you liked?
So okay,
Dork?
Epic Mickey was one of those big disappointments for me.
Oh, yeah?
Where I remember when it was first announced, and,
Warren
like,
Spector's making this Mickey game.
the Game Informer cover, and like all we got was an image and the name Epic Mickey, which was the code name at the time. They stuck with it, and then just fucking image of Mickey with a paintbrush and the castle, and it looked all like darker for what you'd consider for a Disney game. And the idea that it's about the lost and forgotten things from Disney's history, and like the world you living is Disneyland with a bunch of broke down rides and all this stuff. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This sounds like the most Tim Geddes game of all time, and it's super, super cool. And then the more you started hearing about it, there was music that dropped from it. I'm like, well, this is great. It was like remixes of the Fantasia like paint thing where you
Sure.
like messing around with the sorcerer and all that shit. I mean, there's so much there. Like Disney's just it has such a legacy, and there's so much story and characters and all this stuff. And when you take something like Disneyland, which is kind of a amalgamation of all the different things together already, but you add that like the darkness factor of what are the forgotten things and all this stuff. It was so cool, but then the game just kind of wasn't that great. Like
Yeah.
it was such a 6 out of 10, but like it needed to be at least a 7 out of 10 for me to be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would have taken it, you know? I would have been like, you know what? Great.
Good enough.
But it wasn't good enough. And then there was the hope that the sequel would fix that, and it didn't. It didn't at all. But that game, I wished.
Broke your heart.
It did. It did. I remember being at E3, and it was the first time I played it. It was my first E3. That was when I knew
Alfredo held you while you cried.
there's problems here.
Surprised you didn't say Kingdom Hearts.
Well, Kingdom Hearts is the easy answer. Kingdom Hearts, obviously, specifically 1 and 2, love them. And those are such a weird thing when you think back to it. Disney and Final Fantasy mixing together. And I feel like as it went on, it's just gotten more Disney, and the Final Fantasy has kind of left it in terms of characters, at least. Like they're kind of just scattered around. But 1 and 2, they were really prevalent. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Because, yeah, I mean, DuckTales was amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a few good NES games from Disney, or Disney licenses Disney to make them. Capcom made most of the games. Yeah, I mean that's basically it. By the time there was a shit ton of Disney games on PS1 and stuff, but by that time I was just like, nah, I don't care. And a lot of those games are available as PS1 classics, like Hercules. And
Yeah.
And all that.
Toy Story on the Super
Mulan
Nintendo, I
or whatever.
really enjoyed. Was there a Mulan game?
I don't know. I'm just
I
naming
don't
movies from that
think
era.
there was a Mulan game.
I'd be shocked if there wasn't.
That would have been great.
Why not? I liked Mulan. I thought it was a good
so
movie.
dope. Lil Uzi Street says, how much do you guys want Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning remaster?
I'd love that. But that's not
That'd be
gonna- that's not
fucking
gonna happen.
amazing. God, I couldn't imagine.
There's no reason to do that if they're not going to continue with the series. So that would be great, but that's just not going to happen.
What a sad state of affairs with 38 Studios.
Trey says, why has Nintendo violated Paper Mario by removing the great RPG mechanics? Have you played Color Splash at all?
No.
So I played it for a couple hours, and it's cool. I like it. I feel like it's a kind of return to form for what modern Paper Mario is, which is a bit more action-oriented. It started with Super Paper Mario on the Wii.
Which was great.
Yeah, I love that one. But it's not Thousand Year Door. It's not the original Paper Mario on N64, and it's not Super Mario RPG. Or even the Mario and Luigi games on the GBA. And it's like somewhere along the line, they combined them and then just kind of split off of the RPG stuff. Like we got Sticker Star, and that kind of sucked on 3DS. And then the Paper Jam one, I didn't play it, but it doesn't seem too favorable in people's opinions. I like Color Splash, though. I think it was cool. It was really weird. It got back to the like super quirky Paper Mario stuff where it's like there's all the special moves and like a plunger and shit. I'm like, it's Nintendo being weird, and I think that when Nintendo is weird in its kind of more B and C tier stuff, like there's a lot of fun to be had. So it's cool. So I wouldn't say that they're, what's the word he used, violating Paper Mario, as much as that's just what Paper Mario is now. Like, will there be a Mario RPG at some point where like the battle system actually matters. I don't know. I think that somewhere along the line, they're like not enough people care about this, which sucks. But there was a ton of those games though, like between all the Mario and Luigi games on the GBA and DS and Super Mario RPG. Do you like Super Mario RPG?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, the original Super Mario RPG on SNES was so weird because of who made it, and like that was. I remember that was the most revolutionary thing about that game, more than even the game itself, which people really love and I respect. I haven't played it in many years, but I always thought it was weird. I was like Square, or this time SquareSoft is making a Mario game. Like I remember, I was like, I don't understand that. And it came out on a console that had a lot of great role playing games. So like when I think about the great role playing games on Super Nintendo, that game never comes to mind, to be honest. But the move away from RPG elements happens. I mean, Mass Effect did the same thing, and I think that was really disappointing. Even though I think the Mass Effect games get better, I think the mechanically and in terms of like back end like systems, Mass Effect has only gotten worse in that regard. So it's sad to see that happen in franchises you like, where the hallmark of the franchise to you is something that's important, that's not important, obviously, to other players. Yeah. So hopefully Andromeda gets back to that.
Austin Tex Perez says, "What are the coolest developer names? Mine are Undead Labs and the Fun Pimps."
Undead Labs is good.
Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog's good.
Baller.
I was thinking about what was the one I was bringing up recently? They made that Harebrained Schemes. I love that name. They showed us a game at E3. It was like what the fuck was it called? I don't even remember anymore. It was like it was a downloadable game where you had third person shoot like slashing things. God, I love that. I remember meeting them. They're like, "Oh, we're from Harebrained Schemes." I'm like, that's a great name of a studio.
I like Jaffe's Bartlett Jones Detective Agency. That's funny. And goofy. Yeah. For the longest time when he did that, I thought that's what his game was. I thought that was the name of the game, and then it was like, oh no, that's the studio. Oh, that's weird but awesome. That's a cool business card to hand.
No,
to people.
definitely. I've always been a fan of Neversoft. I just thought it was cool, and like the logo and the eyeball. It was kind of the experience with that.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, there's a bunch, man.
Yeah. Jason, aka Rejuvenation, says, while playing BioShock Collection, and some have said, this doesn't make sense, but I've been playing BioShock Collection, and some have said the same thing about Return to Arkham. My friend noticed how the new graphics and lighting takes away from the intended tone. Will this change how remasters are made, and if they need to stop doing this?
I understand what he means. It's a weird sentence structure. He was saying that people are saying the same thing about both collections. I haven't played Arkham.
I have. I've only played Arkham Asylum. I haven't noticed it being brighter and not as grim and dark as Arkham Asylum was before.
Reading IGN's review, their whole thing was just like the brightness kind of like really reveals the flaws of the game being developed on a last gen system.
Well, sure, it's an old game, yeah.
Yeah, but like when it being brighter though. Because when you see the graphics comparison, it's significantly brighter.
Sure.
And it takes away not only from the tone of the game, but it also like reveals the flatness of the flowers and the.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, with BioShock, I mean, I know that game pretty intimately, and I haven't. I mean, I got about halfway through it before I had to abandon my run. I'd like to get back to it to play other things, but that said, I always jack up the brightness on every game I play. So games are. I hate when it's like, max this out so you can just barely see the logo. I'm like, no, I'm going to see the whole logo. That's how I'm going to play the game.
Because it's such a Colin thing to do.
Because I'm just like, because I don't like playing, like, I don't, except for in like certain games like horror or whatever, like where you want darkness or you want like I'm like, I don't find it fun to not be able to see what the fuck's going on. So like, what I'm saying is that BioShock probably always looked like that to me, and so that's just what I know BioShock to be. I just like games to be a little bit more brighter and vibrant, even if they're meant to be like these dark, dire things. I'm like, this isn't. I don't find it exciting, even in Dead Space or a game I like, where I'm like, I can't see where the fuck I'm going. I'm like, how is that fun? Like I don't care if the ambient light doesn't make sense. I need to see the whole logo.
Yeah, that's fascinating about Batman, because I haven't read any of the reviews. I've just played Arkham Asylum, and I mean, it looks like what I remember it to look like, which is what I expect out of a remaster.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And that's always the interesting thing when we talk about it. When you get one, you're like, man, this game doesn't look great, and then you go look like Ocarina of Time, and then you go look at the Ocarina of Time original, like, whoa, fuck, you know what I mean? So like, it's very, very fascinating. I don't know.
Yeah. Final question, Colin. This is from James Saul. He says, will Colin give Skyrim another go? And don't let him use it not working on PS3 as an excuse, with a little winky smiley.
No, I'm not going to give it another go. The PS3 thing, I mean, that's old news now, but that was 5 years ago. But there's just no time. I gotta pick and choose. Skyrim is not a game. I mean, I think Skyrim. I played Skyrim for 20 hours or so. I mean, when it came out, it wasn't like just a jump in and jump out. I intended on playing it further. There was other things. I think Arkham City came out that winter, and some other shit right around it. It was 2011, right? So it was a pretty busy
You were
time.
doing
I think
Washington's Beard, I
I think
remember.
Resistance 3. Yeah, Resistance 3 was out. So if I'm remembering the timing right, it could be the year after that. Anyway, it's just it's a commitment, and I don't have time. Like I have this whole slew of games. VR has totally. I now have this triple assault going on, right? Actually, like a quadruple assault, because Civ 6 comes out soon, which I'm gonna fucking lose my life to for a little while, obviously. And VR has this whole catalog of games I haven't even played Valkyrie yet in the wild. That was the game that sold me on VR, and I don't even have time to fucking play it. And there's all these other VR games I want to try out. PS4 has its own games with Battlefield coming out, and et cetera, and so on. Last Guardian obviously will come out later. And then Vita still has these games I want to play too. So like, I'm not just going to like throw Skyrim arbitrarily onto this list. I did it with BioShock because I love BioShock. And even then, it just became untenable, you know? So I was reflecting to Greg recently that I'm sad that I'm not beating more games because I feel so under the gun to get from game to game that I'm not sitting there and enjoying these experiences. So that it would be the antithesis of what I want to do to throw Skyrim on the list, especially because I don't even want to play Skyrim. But I'm happy that people want to play it. It's coming out in a couple weeks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Until next week.